A big congratulations to the Copper Queens for thrashing Angola. That's by 6 goals to nil. And something that we were expecting, but not expected so many goals to come out of that game. But anyway, this is Off the Pitch, a show that comes your way every Saturday, and I'm your host, Amos, aka Amore, and I'm not alone on set today. I'm joined by one Augustine and Angorapson, and Augustine will explain about Angorapson. Augustine, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amos. It's always a pleasure to be here. We turn all the glory and honor to the Most High God. I think it's been a very good week in terms of football. Seeing our Copper Queens going to trash Angola in their own backyard, that was very, very huge. I basically expected a one-way traffic going into Angola. And I think the sad part of women's football is that Zesco United, they are being told to play their game against Indeni Roses when they've got 4 players that they've contributed to the senior national soccer team. And on the other side, we've got GBFC. They've produced the same number of players which have gone to the national team, but they're not playing. So I think the association will need to try and be balanced in that regard. It's very, very difficult to try and have the same a rule which is applying differently on teams. So I think it's going to be very, very tough for Zesco United. They are playing in Ndola Derby against Indeni Roses. They are without their Tali's player in Abel Chitundu, who has contributed very, very much in their season. But all in all, I think women's football is growing. What we need to do is just to keep supporting this game, and we just hope that it gets to the heights that we expect.
Anyway, we will discuss more, Augustine, into the same game. For now, we'll just take a very short break as we get back and just look at some of the talking points in going into the second leg of the game that will be played on the 5th.
My name is Christopher Adam. Continue watching Off the Pitch on Camnet TV.
Winning 6-0 away, I'm sure our fans will expect more than six goals away. But that is not our plan. We also need to look at some areas where we would want to make some changes in future. Because others, like you saw in the first half, I'm sure maybe it could be that they were tired at the long flight from Europe to Europe. So we need to give them a chance. And the juniors who were left out because of the number, CAF said we should have only 18 players. 11 starting and 7 on the bench. So we have to drop some of the players about 5. So going into the second leg, I think we'll try and make some changes and see if they can also participate in the second leg.
I'm Given Singuruma. Continue watching Off the Pitch on Camnet TV every Saturday.
That's Coach Bruce Mwape there giving an overview in terms of the second leg game that will be played on the 5th. That's in the Copper Belt, and he was saying he would rather raise some of the players. But should we get excited, Augustine, over the 6-0? The game might change.
I think it's very, very difficult looking at where we've come from. To try and bottle it at this stage. I think a 6-goal lead is very, very huge. It's very, very difficult for any team in the world to overturn such deficit away from home. And I do not expect the Copper Queen losing away this lead. It can't happen in a million years. And it shows the progress that we've made as a country in terms of women's football. A couple of years ago, we were struggling to try and qualify for the WAFCON, but what Bruce Mwape has done, I think he's someone who is not given a lot of credit in terms of women's football in Zambia, but he has helped us grow into this big country, big nation that we are in terms of women's football. With what he's done with the girls, you could see that we do play a starting 11 with foreign-based players and local players, and still have foreign-based players on the bench. So you could see that our game was really grown, and it was good to see Lushomo Mwemba. She looks very fit now, unlike the Lushomo Mwemba we had at the World Cup. Yes, she's the one who made history, scoring the first goal for the Copa Queens at the FIFA World Cup, and she opened the scoring in Angola, which opened the floodgates to see Barbara Banda scoring a hat-trick, Irene Lungu and Rachel Kundananja. I think that will boost our confidence going forward, because now we could see that we are dominant in this region. We've won the COSAFA. Yes, we lost the final this time around, because basically we never had the foreign-based players. If Barbara and Kundananja were there, it would have been an easy ride. But what we've picked from the COSAFA is that players like Pauline Zulu, now she's the kingpin of that defense. She was part of that COSAFA team. She has been identified as someone who can partner Lushomo Mwemba at the heart of defense. Esther Siamfuko, she's growing into this good fullback that we expected her to be. I think she's very intelligent. She picks very good positions on the field of play, especially in defense transitions. Martha Tembo, always reliable, and Catherine Musonda's come and go. She's looked very decent. Ezonale, who has always been our first choice goalkeeper, she's recovering from that terrible injury she sustained just right before the World Cup, and you could see that there are players that are not part of this team, and when they come back, it will be a full force. Look at Margaret Bulemu, Ochumba Oseke, we've got Grace Chanda and Hazonale, Agnes Musesa as well. So you could see that we've got enough strength and depth. It's just about how do we use this team, these material that we have. I think our biggest challenge probably with Bruce Mwape has been tactically when we reach that big stage. That's when he's found wanting, but you could see that he's built a very good chemistry and understanding in this team. And you could see in the interview he talked about probably chopping and changing in the game against Angola at the Levi Mwanasa Stadium, to try and bringing probably the less experienced players that didn't have a feel of the game in Angola, to try and get them up to speed, and to try and, it's a warning to those that are starting that you are not,
competition,
you can be replaceable in this team. So I think it's good to see the Copa Queens, and I would just love to urge everyone in Ndola to trek to the Levi Mwanasa Stadium on Tuesday and support the girls as they progress to the next round against Angola.
And I think we had a discussion with one of my colleagues, Augustine, where we were saying when we qualified going to the World Cup as the Copa Queens, we saw FAS employing a technical advisor, and who left immediately after the World Cup.
Yeah, I think it was financially, it was always going to be difficult to keep her, because she was in big wages. That's the biggest problem. Yeah, she was on very big wages, and they couldn't sustain that. And you could see that basically it didn't help us at the FIFA World Cup, to be honest. If you look at tactically, the way we were being set up, we were very negative. When there was positive transition, we never had a lot of bodies going forward. Was it a right decision by the Football Association of Zambia? I don't think so. If it's not broken, why fix it? I think we could have stuck to Bruce Mwape with his tactics. What did we expect to achieve at the FIFA World Cup? We are in a group of Japan world champions. Spain, who eventually went on to win the World Cup. And the fact that Spain have got the Ballon d'Or winner in their team, in Aitan Bonmati, who scored the first goal in that encounter against them, it shows the gulf in terms of the class between us and the nations that were in at the tournament. And after the group were made, remember, Amos, I kept on saying our biggest chance will be against Costa Rica. And it's the game that we went and won. So I think we have to be realistic in how we are outlining our targets going forward, because we are just putting unnecessary pressure on ourselves. So we need to try and work on building a team that will be a force in Africa to reckon with. That should be the first step, because the last time around we went at the WAFCON. We managed to to reach the semi-finals and finish third at the WAFCON, winning bronze without key players like Lecho Nachula, Rachel Kundananji, Barbara Banda, Helen Chanda. We had a lot of players that were not part of that team. But this time around, probably we do not know if CAF will try and bend their rules to try and allow these ones to play in at the tournament, because it's very frustrating. You go through the qualifying process and then you reach the tournament.
You don't.
There are different rules that apply at the tournament. I think CAF will need to try and rectify that. They need to try and help their girls. You do not see that in Europe. At the Euro, it doesn't happen. You didn't see it at the World Cup. But why are we being very, very stiff here at the WAFCON? We have got probably the best team in terms of personnel, in terms of balance in Africa. You look at defensively, we are very, very solid. We have got Lushomo Memba. She's a Kimpling. She manages to defend in 1v1 situations. Martha Tembo, likewise, she can cover a lot of ground on her own. Central midfield, we've got one of the most promising young talent in Evelyn Susan Katongo. She's been paired with Irene Lungu and Susan Banda. Susan Banda is that player who just cool down the tempo of the game, dictate it, and then progress the ball. Up front, we've got a lot of firepower. You look at Barbara Banda, Rachel Kundananji, Rachel Nachula, Priska Chirufia, Uchumba Osege. We've got a lot of talent. Avio Chitundu. I think Avio Chitundu probably in 2-3 years' time she won't be playing in Zambia. She's got that quality and class. And I do want us to see this team progressing, probably going and challenging for the WAFCON. Why not? Yeah.
And just a quick one, Augustine, on this one. If you were Bruce Mapo, if you were in his shoes right now, would you think of making a lot of changes for the starting 11 that will play here at 11 Manawasa?
I think in terms of creating strength and depth, you have to create your own strength and depth at any, is it national team or football club, by giving others opportunity. You remember 2-3 years ago, we are only basically using 15 players or less. It was always the same faces, but now Bruce Mape has realized that he has to create that strength and depth in his team and create that healthy competition. There were the girls that went to the COSAFA and did very well by reaching the finals. We have got Frida Kawe. She scored a hat-trick at the COSAFA. She would want to have a piece of this cake. So I think it's how strategically Bruce Mape will try and assemble his team. I would make about 6 changes in this team to try and just give the other players a feel. We've got Esther Banda of GBFC, one of the most promising young talent in the country, and I do think if she's given opportunity at this stage, she will grow into a top defender and a holding midfielder, because she does play both roles very, very well. So we need to try and do that by giving others chance and creating that healthy competition and strength and depth in the team.
We just wish the Copper Queens all the best as they will be facing Angola. That's in the return leg on the 5th of December. That's in the Copper Belt. So they need our support. We'll be supporting from here. If you manage to go there, we'll manage. But all the best to the Copper Queens as they will wind up the job that they started in Angola. And today, Augustine, just a quick one. Let's not forget that there is a Legends game that will be played at the Hero Stadium, and tickets were being sold, and I'm sure they are still being sold. It's the African Legends versus the Chipolopolo Legends, and we'll see our very own Karusha Waria playing for the African Legends.
Yeah, I think it's a big showpiece. If you look at the caliber of players that have come in, these are players that have done well at different stages in world football. I think you look at El Hadji Diop, you remember the 2001 World Cup when
he would torment a lot of people.
He gave problems to teams like France, Turkey. He was one of the best players Africa has produced. Haji Diop. I think the only sad part was his discipline side of the game. It leaves much to be desired. I think he's one of the few players that will go into the Liverpool dressing room and have a big argument with Steven Gerrard. I think they're not the best mates. He even said he doesn't even have Steven Gerrard's contacts, because he was that kind of player who probably had self-confidence and self-belief and didn't respect anyone. And coming into the game, we saw the Chipolopolo Legends play a game against Barcelona, which they trashed them by 3-0 with James Chamanga and Clifford Mulenga on the score sheet. And going into this game against African Legend, it's going to give the fans another opportunity of watching the great players that Africa has produced. I think this is the cream de la cream when it comes to African football, both on the Copa, on the Polo Legends and the Africa Legends. You've seen there are players that have won the Africa Cup of Nations. You look at the Cup 2012 Zambia, then we have got players like Sieke Tieni, who was part of that Ivory Coast team which lost on penalties to Zambia in 2012. There is El Hadji Diouf. He's gone all the way with Senegal, unfortunately lost on penalties against Cameroon. Nwako Nkanu, he's won it. You look at Asamoah Gyan, he's gotten that close with his Ghana team, but it wasn't to be. He was eliminated by this same team 2012 in the semi-finals in Bata. So I think you look at the players that are coming, they have earned the right to be called legends. Mark Fish, Mark Fish is one of them. You remember 1998 World Cup, he was one of the outstanding players for Bafana. We've got Spiro Shabalala, that famous Shabalala goal in 2010 World Cup. So I think it gives you a lot of reasons why to go to this game, because there are a lot of players that have done well at the biggest stage in terms of representing Africa. And I think going forward for the organizers, it's better to have this tournament, this game is being played off season, because now people are having that challenge whereby they want to go and watch their clubs.
How are we going to balance?
Yeah, they want to go and watch their clubs play. The Premier League is there, so you're competing with a lot of, you're competing for attention, because there are a lot of things that are happening in Zambia and in Europe at large. So I think next time when the organizers organize such a big tournament, a big friendly like this one, it should be probably in off season when we have got purely no games and it's just this big one.
Anyway, also the game will be played today. That's at 15 hours and it's at Hero Stadium. Some of the prices for the tickets at South Wing, that's 150, North Wing 150, East Wing that's 200, West Wing 300, parking access of stadium that's 750, VIP upper deck, that's red 15, VIP lower deck blue 2000, and VIP lower deck orange, that's 2000. Those are the prices for you to go and watch this game. For now, we'll just take a very short break as we get back and look at some of the games that were played in the MTN Super League last week.
My name is Christopher Adam. Continue watching Off the Pitch on Camnet TV.
Hey, join me, Amazing Katamanda, on the weekly gospel show for those exciting and interesting interviews with your favorite gospel
Hold on to me when it's too dark to see. You cannot put your power back to
Hallelujah.
And this time around, we are bringing to you entertainment news and the countdown, as you guys are able to nominate your top 3 favorite music videos of the week. Remember, it's every Saturday at 10:45. You can also catch repeats every Monday at 10 hours. Camnet TV is not just another time. Live your dream today by playing Nawina Lotto and start a chance to win up to 2,000 kwacha every day.
And in order to play Zambia's most trusted lottery, first make sure you have money in your mobile money account.
In order to stand a chance to win, you need to follow these steps. Step number 1, dial *388*6#. Step number 2, select option 1 to buy your ticket. Step number 3, select option 5, which is Camnet. Step number 4, buy 1 ticket for 5 kwacha, 2 tickets for 10 kwacha, or 10 tickets for 50 kwacha. Number 5, enter your mobile PIN to confirm your purchase.
After buying your ticket, you will be entered into the day's draw and a unique code will be sent to you via SMS.
Draws will be done every day right here on Camnet TV, and the winners will be announced right here on Camnet TV every day at 19 hours. Remember, the more tickets you buy, the higher chances of winning. Get busy, Iwe!
I'm Given Singuruma. Continue watching Off the Pitch on Camnet TV every Saturday.
Augustine, you managed to say it last week when Angorapson nearly didn't agree with you when you said, no, sir, once Ngana is palangasheted, he won't show up.
Yeah, I think it was one of those games where you felt that Ngana had no chance, but going into the game against Zesco United, the first 20 minutes, I think if you watch the first 20 minutes, you get surprised how Ngana lost. Because in the first 20 minutes, they did everything right. Ngana, they were the better side. They pressed Zesco United very, very high up the pitch. I think they forced them to have turnover of possession. And they were very, very good in transition. They were very, very quick. They played some beautiful football, crispy passing. I think Hyson Chisala being at the heart of everything. If I'm Ian Bakala and I'm trying to inspire and motivate the boys, I show them that first 20 minutes against Zesco United and tell the players, this is going to be our standard. We cannot drop from this level. I think it was surprisingly how Nkana dropped from that first 20 minutes where they dominated Zesco. Zesco United looked very, very lost. They were finding it difficult coming out of their own area with the ball because Nkana were very, very aggressive in their defensive organization. They moved the ball very, very well. Hyson Chisala, I think if there's anything good that will happen to Ngana this season, it has to go through Hyson Chisala. And we saw a bit of Jacob Nguluwe playing those little 1-2. I think he has been known for playing good 1-2, linking up play and getting into the box. And you saw that in the first 20 minutes against Zesco United. I think it was the best 20 minutes they've played this season. And then after that, they started to allow Zesco United to grow into the game and started influencing it even more. Towards half-time, I think they conceded a set piece. Mangani Banda, you should never be conceding from a set piece. The angle where the ball was, I think Abraham Siankombo is going for a cross to try and he's going for that dangerous scaler, which is he's aiming for the far post. If by chance it goes in, it's a goal. But what he's aiming is that any touch, either Nkana or Zesco United, it's a goal. I think Mangani Banda should be doing a lot better for his team. I think he's been very poor. He's been one of the most poor players at Zesco, at Nkana Football Club. He's cost them a lot of matches. So I think one thing you can get is that Nkana Football Club are struggling with set pieces and crosses into the box. If they can rectify that, probably defensively they will be a little bit better. And you do not lose football matches if you do not concede. So they need to rectify that going forward. Zesco United grow into the game. I think inspired substitution by George Londamina, bringing in Kelvin Kampamba Muanga, who wasn't fully fit probably to start, because you remember going into the international break, he had injury problems, went with the Copa Bullets, didn't play, and then returned just a few days before that big Copa Belt Derby against Nkana. But you could see when he came into the game, he gave Nkana a lot of problems. Oliver Lumbia, the young boy, couldn't deal with Kelvin Muanga. That's the reason why he even got sent off, because Kelvin Muanga was very, very tricky. He could find those pockets of spaces and link play with Lola up top. And the substitution of, again, Enoch Sakala. I think my biggest problem is that why can this boy be more consistent with his performances? So you see the Enoch Sakala that you saw against...
We won't see him now.
It will take about 8 weeks for him to try and have such a good performance. I think he was very, very dominant. He dominated his defender. He won those aerial balls that were put into the box, scored a brace. I think if this boy can just be more consistent with his performances at Zesco United, he will be that guy that will probably lead them to this league title, because you could see that there are a lot of teams that are very, very inconsistent in the league. Zesco United, if they look like one of the favorites going into to win this league title, but they need to try and produce those performances more often than not, especially away from home. They need to try and be more efficient. And Nkana, I think they were blown away. The way that didn't suit them, like the coach said. It was one of those comments where you wonder where Zesco United were playing from. Yeah, because they were using the same pitch. Probably it's tactically, probably Zesco United are suited to try and putting long balls into the channels and crosses, and Ghana are not that kind of a team, but they've been struggling. I think he's going to try and look for any excuses that he can. We saw Clement Mwape coming in that Ghana defense. Probably going forward, you hope them defensively, because he's one of those players that are very, very good, solid on the ground, very, very good in the air. But what Ghana will need to rectify is that going up top, they need to have goals. Their top scorer is Harrison Lewa Chisala. He has scored 3 goals this season and is the leading scorer from Ghana. I think that's a source of concern. They need to rectify that in January.
Let's just a quick one before we look at some of the games, Augustine, that we have played last week. Ghana is back at Chirata. Will this change their fortune?
Yeah, I think it's always good when you're playing games away from home, at home. Sorry, it gives you that edge, that understanding of the environment. Now Ghana are going back to Chirata, where they will try and make it fortress. If they are going to stay in this league, they have to make it fortress, because at Woodlands they struggled. They only managed, is it, 1 home win the entire time they were at Woodlands Stadium. So you could see that this is a team that struggled playing at home, and now they're going back to their home, Chirata. Because what used to happen was Ghana would travel on a Thursday, coming to Lusaka, and set up base. So it was always difficult. It was basically playing away games every week. Yeah. And so it was very, very difficult for Ghana. But this time around, they are going back to Chirata. Yes, it's going to be under closed doors, but at least it gives them that edge that they are playing at their own home ground. They understand the environment, they understand the way the pitch works, and hopefully it will be enough to see Ghana survive relegation. We really need Ghana Football Club in the Super League if we want it to be very, very attractive, because Ghana, I think, have got the most passionate fans in Zambian football. If only the players can replicate the same passion the fans have, Ghana would have been league champions.
Kansanshi Dynamos, Augustine, disappointed the Red Arrows.
I think Kansanshi, the signs were there. You wonder how players change overnight. Under Boyd Mulwana, the same players were failing to perform, were failing to get results on the board. But since Dono Yobe took over, it's been 3 games, 2 wins and 1 loss against Zanaco. And you could see even in the game where they lost against Zanaco, the performance was there. And going into the game, Chisimbewe was very, very clear to say this is going to be a very, very tricky encounter, because yes, Kansanshi are not doing very well, but they have been playing some good stuff. And it's all about those key players getting it right on the day. Red Arrows took the lead through Ricky Banda in the 37th minute, and you would have thought Red Arrows, the team which has got the meanest defense in the league, will hold on to that lead or probably get a draw. But towards half-time, Yanganile Tembo restored parity for Kansanshi, and which meant they went into the break level. And immediately after the half-time break, I think it was very, very naive from Red Arrows, to be honest. I think when the game kicked off second half, they committed bodies forward like they were trying to chase a late winner. And then they pushed a lot of men forward, and it was when there was turnover of possession. Kansanshi were very, very quick in transition. They found Jimmy Mukeya, who made a very, very good run to find David Daka, who went and scored the goal which proved to be the winner. Red Arrows had chances after that, but they couldn't capitalize. I think Kansanshi Dynamo's goalkeeper was brilliant on the day. George Chaloba came on from the bench for Yusuf Saddam, hit the post in that encounter, and Kansanshi won it by 2-1, which was very, very huge victory for Kansanshi Dynamos, which gives them their slender hopes of making it for the ABSA Cup.
We saw the other game, Augustine, that we were excited with. It was Power Dynamos hosting FC Moza, which ended in a it ended in a draw. Yeah,
I think it was one of those games where it was always going to be difficult to call, because last time around when Muza played Power Dynamos in both games, in Kitwe and in Mazabuka, they both ended in a draw. So you could think that Power Dynamos were probably going to have a little bit of an advantage, the fact that they won the previous game in the Kitwe Derby against Ghana Football Club, and then going into this home game against FC Muza at the Davis Stadium, where the fans are very, very much demanding. They took the lead through Joshua Budomtare, and you would have thought Power Muza are going to grow from there and extend their lead, but Muza are no pushovers. They kept on pushing until they got that much needed equalizer before halftime, and in the second half it was all about making it difficult for the home team, and Muza coming out of Kitu with a 1 point, which will prove to be very, very vital come the end of the season, because not many teams will go to Arthur Davis Stadium and get something from there. And credit must be given to FC Muza, the way they handle these big matches. They've gone to Nkoloma Stadium, gotten that 1-1 draw late on Rickson Nambi's strike. Again, they go to Arthur Davis Stadium, another draw. They came to Woodland Stadium against Kalamba. Yes, a struggling Ghana, but they managed to get a draw. So I think very, very good for FC Muza, and they will look forward to try and build momentum going forward.
We saw Nkwazi Augustine hosting Trident, and Angorapson was there to cover the game. Something that we've always been talking about, the level of our stadium. We can't always be. Should we change our fixtures, Augustine, so that games shouldn't be played during the rain season?
Yeah, I think. I think it's just all about copy and paste when it comes to Africa. It was always the pressure from Europe. We changed our calendar in terms of the Africa Cup of Nations, pushing it in June, July. Then we changed the calendar in terms of the CAF Confederations Cup and the Champions League. I think it was always pressure from Europe, and we've succumbed to that. And looking at Zambian football, I do not think our football suits to be played in this season. I believe March to November was the best calendar we had, because our stadiums cannot manage to hold the rains when they come. It's not just about the Super League. That's where people are getting the picture wrong. We have got lower leagues underneath.
And it's worse.
And it's very, very bad. There are a lot of games. I think just this week, I think Camnet Stars had
an abandoned game.
Yes, Kamanga Warriors had same thing against away from home. So, and you could see that these teams that are in the lower league, they do not have the financial power like these big teams in the Super League. So it's very inconveniencing for them to travel. Sunday you go, the game you play 45 minutes, then you go back, and then you come Wednesday to come and play the last 45. It's different from the Super League. You could see that the Super League didn't travel. The game was moved to the following day, started at 10 hours, and then the game was completed. What would have happened if weather was bad again on that day? So we would have pushed to Monday. I think the authorities will need to try and look into this. It's not helping our football. We are copying from Europe. Europe have got the best facilities. Their conditions are different. Do you know why England plays from August to May? It's because between June, July, August, that's their summertime, and it's very, very hot in England. They cannot play. That's why they do not play during that season. But I think we just go in and copy these things. It's very, very hard to try and manage. Nkwazi, they are still the informed team in the league. The last 6 games, they've won 4 and drawn 1, which was against Trident. Trident, I think credit must be given to them. They went to Edwin Mboela Stadium searching for their first win in the Super League, got the first goal, but again they failed to hold the lead. They failed to hold the league about 4 times this season. They usually score first Trident, but the difficult part is how to hold the lead and sustain it. Is very, very difficult for this team, and Nkwazi managed to equalize through a Stephen Mutama well taken free kick. I think Stephen Mutama is getting back to his best. I think Oswald Mutapa is getting the best out of this boy. Remember, Stephen Mutama scored the first goal of this season in the Premier League when they faced Concola Base at Edwin Mboela Stadium, and this was a player who was knocking on the doors of Chipolopolo a couple of years ago, because he was putting very, very good performances together. I think now we could see that he looks like more matured, is taking responsibility, and is going to be very, very key for Nkwazi Stephen Mutama this season. Trident, they'll need to try and find a goal scorer in January, because it's going to be very, very difficult for them. Their top scorer has got 2 goals. Is that enough to see you stay up in the league? No, I don't think so. You need someone who will get you the goals on top to try and help you win football matches. They cannot rely on Graven Chitalo. Yes, he can do it in the National League, but this league is very unforgiving, and they have found it very, very difficult to get going, because Trident being the champions of the National League, you expected them to be the best performances this season, but they haven't done that.
Some of the results that were there, Augustine, had Prison Leopards, who managed to beat mighty Mufulira Wanderers just by 2-0, and we had Green Eagles beating Napsa Stars by 3-0, and we had Kayo Warriors losing to Zanaco, and Kongola Blades drawing against Forest Rangers. Napsa Stars, Augustine.
Yeah, Napsa Stars, I think they are sitting
on 16th.
They are in big trouble under Perry Mutapa this season. You could see that it's just not clicked for Napsa Stars. They tried different dimensions, different formations, different personalities. It's still not working. I think you're looking at the Napsa Stars last season, it was all about the collective. It was not about one individual driving Napsa Stars forward. It was all about the collective, but it's not clicking this time around. You could see that Napsa Stars' strong point has always been their central midfield and defense, which works very tirelessly. But this time around, teams are finding it very easy playing through Napsa Stars. How do you go to Choma and get beat by 3-0? Green Eagles are not one of those teams that are free scoring, but they went there and I think Freddy scored a brace and Derek Ulaya scored another for Green Eagles. What Green Eagles has done is that Alex Namazawa has identified that he needs to try and change it in terms of how they approach matches. Now you could see that Amit Chamende is being played more of a number 10 in that central role, and he's very creative, he's intelligent, his movement is very difficult for oppositions to try and track. I think one player who has been very key for Green Eagles has been Shapish Kondinjovo at the heart of defense. He's very solid young boy, under 23 international, and going forward you could see that they've improved in terms of goal scoring. Aaron Mushuri, the boy from Burundi, you could see now he's settled very well at Green Eagles. He's playing that good football that we expected him to play when he first came into this team. Osia Sirimba is rediscovering his home, and when Osia Sirimba is clicking, the entire Green Eagles will click.
Those are some of the games that took place last week. But let's just get a look into the games that are being played today. We already spoke of the Ghana game, Augustine, being played at home, but Ghana hosting Green Buffaloes, which is not an easy game, and I'm sure a lot of fans expect them to carry the day, them playing back Pachilata.
Both teams have been struggling. GBFC, with how they played last season, they are close to those continental places under Masa Sotembo. You would expect them to kick on and progress from there, but they haven't done that. They've just taken about 5 steps backwards. Goal scoring has proved to be very difficult. Last season they relied heavily on George Ngoma and young Gordon Mashata. They could have done something in the transfer market this season, but they didn't do that. They are heavily reliant on these two players to try and produce the goods. Harry Miranzi Jr., inconsistent with his performances. He needs to try and up them if he has to help this GBFC team. John Kosamo, I feel he's been a disappointment this season. Last season, you remember, he had very good performances. We saw him in a place at the Kosafa team and win and won the Kosafa. It hasn't been the same this season. Heart of defense, they've lost Arthur Muleya this season. He's not playing for GBFC, so you could see that Chilimba Monga is struggling to try and stamp his authority in that deep Green Buffaloes team. But one breath of fresh air is he's been Andrew Mpande. He's moved from Kwazi Football Club to GBFC. He's gone and filled in the big shoes of Jack Chilwa. Jack Chilwa left for Fresh Rangers. I think that was a very big hole. But you could see that Andrew Mpande has gone there and he's taken up a lot of responsibility. He works very hard in that central midfield, which has seen the coach Avram Grant noticing, and he was part of the team which went and played this back-to-back AFCON qualifier, World Cup qualifier. So you could see that there are some positive signs at GBFC. They just need to try and get the pieces together. Is it Francis Mwansa in goal? Probably yes. They need to try and give him confidence and a good run. I think left back, probably, I feel if they can give chance to the young Teddy Kumalo, who moved from Atletico Lusaka to GBFC, a lot of game time, probably he will get it right. Charles Majapa, he struggled to fit in this GBFC team, their style of play, but he's one boy who on his day he will cause a lot of team's problems. He's a very creative player. He picks the balls in tight areas and make makes things happen. But he's been stuck in central midfield this time around at GBFC. They need to try and release them a little bit going into the games. They're coming up against Nkana, who are struggling again, low on confidence. It's going to be probably a low-scoring affair this time around with these two teams, but GBFC have always had the better of Nkana when they traveled to Chilata, and probably I do think it won't be a very good homecoming for Kalamba.
Saturday, the game that we are just talking about with Augustine, it's going to be played tomorrow. But some of the games that are being played today, we've got Mufulira Wanderers who will be hosting Hwazi, Napsa Stars hosting Prison Leopards, Forest Rangers hosting Power Dynamos, FC Muza hosting Zesco United, Trident hosting Kongola Blades. Those are the games that are being played today, Augustine. Another interesting game here, Augustine, is Forest Rangers who will be hosting Power Dynamos.
Yeah.
Mwenyachi
Pepo retain. He welcomes his former employers, and he would want to get one over them because he felt that he wasn't being respected at Power. He wasn't being treated right. And Power Dynamos, they seem to be slowly but surely finding their form, which saw them win the league title last season. They've got Godfrey Ngwenya firing. He looks sharp now more than ever. Young Budo Mutale is getting goals. He's scored 4 goals already this season with Andy Boba Boeli. They are the leading scorers at this Power Dynamos team. I think you could see that even from the start of the season, Continental Football, Charity Shield, Power Dynamos seems to be chopping and changing. They do not know which is their best lineup, but slowly but surely they are getting to try and have a solid team. We've seen fullbacks now, they're being played. Kondwani Chiwoni and John Soko is being played at the left side of defense with Dominic Chanda and Bokadila, Faustin Bokadila at the heart of defense. They look a little bit decent. Central midfield, Owen Tembo and Linus Makaza to protect the defense, and going forward they leave these attacking players to have a lot of freedom. Austin Muowo, he looks better. Joshua Budomtale, Godfrey Ngwenya, Frederick Mulambia, he had injury at the start of the season, but now he's back. He can try and add some firepower to this Power Dynamos team. And going against Forest Rangers, who their best player has been Lazarus Chishimba this season, and Toshi Chinga. They've looked very good for Forest Rangers. We see Eric Chomba, yes, he does very inconsistent play as well. He needs to be very consistent with his performances. The problem is they do not have an out-and-out striker who is getting them the goals. Luambo Muela has struggled with injuries this season. They need to try and get it right. Forest Rangers, they went to Konkola Blaze last weekend and got a 1-1 draw. They managed to rescue a point from behind against a Beston Chambeshi team which was firing with confidence. The fact that it was a new regime taking first game, and Mwenyash Pepo, I do expect to go and make this Forest team a little bit solid defensively. That's how he builds his teams, Mwenyash Pepo. Defensively, they will be very, very good, and then they will rely on set plays and counter-attacking football to try and get them points. I think Forest Rangers are not a bad team. They have got the quality, they have got the players in there that can step up and put in good performances. I think Gerard Simsoko has been one of them. He's been a key figure at the heart of defense for Forest Rangers. And going into this game against Power Dynamos, probably Forest might just edge it $1 here.
Another game to look out for, Augustine, FC Muza hosting Zesco United at Nakambala Stadium. Yeah,
last season, this time, these two teams, when they met, I believe FC Muza did a double over Zesco United, both in Mazabuka and in Ndola. What's very, very difficult about this FC Muza team is that they are very, very energetic. They play as a team and they make it very, very difficult for every opposition because they play high tempo football. They are very organized. They are not a team which is a possession-based team. They're just very, very good in both transition, negative and positive. They react very, very well to transition, and I do think Andrew Piri will be very, very key in this encounter. And if you look at Zesco United, probably that's the guy they need to lead them to the league title. If they can have an Andrew Piri in their team, Zesco United, they run away with this league title. But I think Lola Kanda, he hasn't really impressed me, to be honest. He's come to Zesco United. Yes, he scored about 3 goals, but he could have scored more. He scored on his debut at Woodland Stadium against Napsa Stars, and you would have thought he would kick on from there. It took him a while for him to score a second goal. So I think Lazarus Kambole, he hasn't been impressive. I think when he came on loan last season, he was much better. But this time around, he started the season, had the full preseason, he's disconnected, but he's not looking very sharp. I think everything good about disconnected probably is going through Kelvin Kampamba Muwanga. He's a very key player for this disconnected team, and if he clicks with John Chingandu, they will cause Muza problems. But I do think this game might just end in a draw.
Napsa Stars hosting Prison Leopards. Napsa Stars has started the season on a very bad note, and they'll be hosting Prison Leopards today at the Woodland Stadium.
They need to get the act right, Napsa Stars, and they are in that relegation zone, and the team which is just above that relegation zone is the same Prison Leopards. So you want to try and by all means you have to collect 3 points against Prison Leopards. Prison Leopards have got a new coach in Lamek Banda. Did very well in the first game against Mighty Mfulia Wanderers. I think David Obashi scored one of the goals of the season at the Lere ground, and you could see Zephania Piri, national team player. He's very key to this Prison Leopards team. The way they play, you will see him play right back, right wing, and central midfield. He dictates play, Zephania Piri, and he's been very key to this Prison Leopards team. But my worry is who gets the goals for Napsa Stars. That has been the biggest problem. They've let Chimi Mukea go. He was bringing something different. Yes, he was struggling as well in front of goal. But what happens is that now you've got Musondaga Pembwa, who was the top scorer in the last 2 seasons in the National League and in the Super League, but he's not getting them the goals. So they need to try and find a way how they will be opening up oppositions and getting goals. I think Uncle Rapson would have talked about one of the flops at Napsa Stars in Pinocchio. I think you wonder why he's being played. He's very poor in front of goal. But Perry Mutapa, knowing Perry Mutapa is a very smart coach, he will always find a way. He will always try and make it difficult for oppositions. You remember last season when the going was tough, he introduced Dixon Chapa into the team, started playing him as a right back. Every time when they're in position, he steps into central midfield. Probably he will come up with a different tactics altogether, try and get the much needed points. I think defensively Napsa Stars have been poor. Last season their best player was Frederick Mimanzi, and I was surprised why he wasn't part of the team which went to the Kosafa. But this time he hasn't been the Frederick Mimanzi was last season. Luka Banda looks a little bit decent, but they need to try and rectify their problems in defense. Rodwell Mukanya will need to stop conceding goals for them to try and have a chance this season. But I do think Napsa Stars will beat Prison Leopards. Perry Mutapa and these boys always respond when there's such pressure.
Tomorrow, Sunday, August the 3rd, we've got a double header. That's at Nkoloma Stadium. We've got Zanaco playing at 13 hours, who will be hosting Green Eagles, and the Red Arrows, who will be hosting Kawe Warriors. And an exciting day tomorrow.
Yeah, I think big win for Zanaco and for Wadawada away at Kawe Warriors. I think Charles Zulu getting them the all-important goal from the penalty spot. They had to dig in deep in that encounter. They had to defend very resolute against a Warriors team. But now coming up against one of the resurgent Green Eagles, they look like they've turned the corner. And Alex Namazawa, remember a couple of weeks ago, Alex Namazawa had that ultimatum. But they're coming up against Ernest Mbewe, who's finding good form at Green Eagles, one of their former players. And what we've seen at Zanaco is that Wetson Nyerenda, he's trying to change their playing style. Zanaco have always been known to be a team that will get the ball in central midfield, use the flanks, use the pace, whipping balls into the box and attack them. But they're now trying to find a different way of playing. I think and young Dominic Kanda has come in from Shameo in that central midfield. He's trying to be the one that dictates play. He's very calm in possession. And Prosper Chiruya, left-sided of defense. Jacob Ngulube, likewise, he plays as a left back or a left winger. So what they need to try and do is Zanaco, they need to try and dictate the game against Green Eagles tomorrow early on, because if they allow Green Eagles to settle, it will be very difficult. I think Green Eagles, they've got Samson Manyipa at right back. If you can pair Samson Manyipa and Charles Zulu, probably they will get a lot of joy on that side. Sensational Zanaco, and I do fancy a Zanaco win in this encounter, but it's going to be very, very tight.
Red Arrows, Augustine.
Red Arrows, one of the most inconsistent teams in the last few weeks. In the last 6 games, they've only won 2, drawn 3, and lost 1. Same applies to the visitors in Kawa Warriors. But something has to give tomorrow, because Kawa Warriors have lost 3 and won 3 in the last 6 games. They've lost back-to-back games, 3 back-to-back games. And going into this game against Red Arrows, both sides are wounded. They're coming from defeats. I think the positives that Red Arrows will have going into this encounter is the form of Ricky Banda. You could see that he's scoring goals. He's one of the leading scorers in the league. He scored 5 goals. The leading scorer in the league is Freddie of Green Eagles. He scored 8 goals. So you could see that this was the guy who helped Red Arrows to the title the last time around, Ricky Banda. If he can be as consistent and push Red Arrows, probably they will be one of the teams that will have a say in where this league title goes. And Kawa Warriors, I think they've hit a brick wall. And Numba Mamba will have to rectify that. They've always had joy coming to Nkoloma Stadium. They want to intimidate the home fans. It's going to be a double header, and this is the second kickoff. We just pray that the rains. We just
don't do the need
just for those hours, because we do not have a lot of stadiums that have got the perfect drainage system. Yes, Nkoloma Stadium has got a decent drainage system, but when the rains are too much, it cannot hold. And I do fancy Red Arrows getting a win against Kawa Warriors, because the last time around they came to Nkoloma, Red Arrows emerged victorious.
A quick one, the EPL is also back. Augustine, we are seeing Arsenal hosting Wolves and Brentford hosting Luton, Burnley hosting Sheffield, Forest Rangers hosting Everton, and Newcastle United hosting Man United. But then before, maybe just a quick one, we've seen how the internet, Augustine, has erupted in terms of why Patson Daka is not being played and not even making it to the bench.
I think it's just basically a case of the coach doesn't fancy Patson Daka. I think that's the reason why we are not seeing Patson Daka playing. It's not about form or anything else. It's just that the coach doesn't think Patson Daka fits in his plans. I think Enzo Muresca probably was clear at the start of the season. He didn't fancy Patson Daka to be one of the players in his plan. You could see that Kalechi Iheanacho, he has scored about 1 goal this season, but he does play. But Patson Daka doesn't get a run in. Probably it's a blessing in disguise for Zambia, because the more they put Patson Daka on the bench, the risk becomes little, because he will not get injured and we will have a fresh Patson Daka for the AFCON. I think it's coming to an end in terms of Patson Daka's stay at Leicester. I think he has got basically 3 weeks to be a Leicester player, in my own opinion, because towards the 20th, he will have to come for the international duty for the Africa Cup of Nations. I think the suffering is getting ever closer. If I look at the offers Patson Daka had in the summer, you look at Brentford, he could have been a good fit there. You look at Everton, probably he could have been fighting with Dominic Calvert-Lewin for that position. And then Bournemouth, he could have been an out-and-out striker with probably partnering Dominic Solanke. And you look at AC Milan. I think AC Milan was one of the most delicious offers Patson Daka had, if not for the issues of work permit. Giroud is their only recognized striker. The last time is that Giroud was suspended for their Serie A game against Fiorentina, and they had only Jovic as the recognized striker. When Jovic was withdrawn, they introduced a 16-year-old boy, AC Milan. So you could see that if Patson Daka had gone to AC Milan, he would have won first, had Champions League football on his belt, and he would have gotten a lot of game time at the San Siro. And it's just unfortunate for the young Zambian, but I believe he will shine at the Africa Cup of Nations, and the big offer is coming his way.
Your final closing remarks, Augustine, due to time.
Yeah, I think a big thanks to the entire production team for making this show possible, and a big thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We always appreciate your effort and your support I'd like to urge each and every one of you, please trek to the nearest stadium and support Bola Yapazedi. Let's trek to Hero Stadium and support the Legends. Tuesday, the Copper Queens are in Ndola. Vandola, show up.
This is where we have to come to the end of a show, and on behalf of the whole entire production team, not forgetting Elijah upstairs and one Uncle Rapson who is with us through the phone, and not forgetting the pastors, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chiluba, for always giving us this platform to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports. This has been Amos aka Amore. It's bye bye, see you next week, same place, same time. We're out.